Now over to the political part of the podcast. You have Ron DeSantis on Florida decreasing their debt under his leadership, going moderately viral. Now this is over on his personal X account or the Twitter account. He is actually responding to a tweet, and the tweet originally came from Florida's Voice, and the Florida's Voice profile said, quote, "Debt report. Florida's economic strength, revenue growth, and ample reserves leads to a AAA credit rating, flyvoicenews.com." And Ron DeSantis replied to that, and he tweeted, quote, "We have retired nearly 25% of Florida's total debt since 2019, and Florida now has the lowest debt per capita in America. Florida debt per person is $661. U.S. debt per person is $100,000. And for DeSantis, that did pretty good on the social media in terms of the views. So that got a little over 500,000 views. Specifically got 543,300 views in 24 hours. So pretty good. We're not taking, I didn't write down these statistics, 2 minutes after he posted. We gave it a little time to brew. Well, gave it some time to get taller, put some higher heels on, perhaps, is a more apt metaphor, but nevertheless. And that did get 7.4 thousand likes. Now, again, this is actually, I think, is a good tweet or post, whatever you want to call it, from DeSantis. Again, his marketing team, I don't know if they're inebriated on Bud Light or if they don't exist, but again, DeSantis wanted to, I don't know if he really wants to win, but if he really wants to get the Republican primary, if he really wants to be the nominee, just put out a bunch of swag, I'm talking mugs, t-shirts, and marketing materials around the whole theme of DeSantis does. And write down his top 5 accomplishments. Again, very uniquely, he's one of the few people who's running who he has a proven track record of doing some good things. I don't think he focuses on those things enough, and perhaps that's why he's dropping so far in the polls. He started off, remember, January 2023, in the primary polls, he was around 33%, give or take. He's down to around 11.2% in a year. That's nearly impossible. And equally important, he's recently lost a lot of his top donors who have openly said they're now supporting Nikki Haley, who is increasing in the polls, and in some individual polls beating him. In terms of the poll aggregators, I believe he is still ahead by 0.8%. And again, we'll pull up the poll aggregator in a minute after we look at comments. But again, I think this does show that Florida had a good track record. Because again, I know Americans have so much debt, they might not realize it is an important thing and can be detrimental to our country, national security, many. It's not good. And this is a good point to drive home because, again, Democrats, Republicans, not enough of them are saying, hey, folks, we're in massive debt. We need to do something. We might have to sell off Hawaii or something. I'm joking, obviously. But we have to do something different because we're just getting more and more in debt, which is not good for us long term. Now, going to the comments, and I was going to say, I think it's a pretty good post. But I wonder if people are going to, that actually might be a more entertaining question. If you think he's going to be mocked, how will he be mocked? Because usually, I would say maybe 50-50, 60-40% of the comments are usually supportive of him. Maybe a little bit more than half, it's about 60% support. So maybe this will be higher, but let's dive and find out. Let's see here. Janie Curran says, quote, "Keep in mind, DeSantis accomplished this reduction in the debt despite COVID, multiple hurricanes, weathering national inflation, and without raising taxes, he lowered them. Can we get a little bit of the special sauce in DC, please?" Unquote. That got 315 likes. And yeah, if he did all that with lowering taxes, which I shouldn't say obviously because not a lot of people read economic books, but if you really want to reduce the debt, get rid of regulation, decrease taxes, give businesses incentive to not just start new businesses, but expand, reinvest in their businesses. But yeah, some people may think it's counterintuitive, but yeah, if you keep taxing people to death, they don't want to reinvest. They don't start businesses at the same rates. They actually decrease that rate. Yeah, so I think that's a good point. So continue down. Ooh, I was gonna say that's not great. We only got into the second comment, and the negative ones are already brewing to the surface. Now, Sherry Deliver, perhaps she's a delivery driver. I'm not sure. Nevertheless, Sherry Deliver says, quote, "That's great, but no." You know what, folks? Grammar be damned. Again, I'm reading this exactly as she typed or attempted to type. And she says, quote, "That's great, but no can afford to live in Florida, BC of home insurance issues," unquote. I got 78 likes. And that is an issue with the home insurance rates. Also, people keep building property where there's flooding and hurricanes. Not a prudent place to build it. I feel bad when people have those issues come up in their life, but there are more than, again, I always caution people to single variable analysis. there are a lot of reasons why some of those companies are moving out of Florida in terms of insurance companies and the coverages. In some cases, they've been losing money. In other cases, you could argue they're virtue signaling. Some of them have done it for political reasons. But yeah, I think DeSantis needs to focus more on that topic. Mike Kalenda says, quote, and yet insurance is one of the worst in the nation. Drop out, Rob, unquote. Rob? I don't know if that's a slight or supposed to be a pejorative joke, but his name's Ron, nevertheless. That did get 73 likes. Let's see. Someone by the name of Dylan Skidmore says, quote, Florida may be the 47th in state debt per capita, but when you look at local government debt, suddenly the numbers change to 19th. Florida allows the local government to tax the hell out of its citizens and then boast about a state surplus. Since the state general reserves have doubled since last year, are you planning on returning any of that taxpayer money to the taxpayers? Unquote. That got 31 likes on the X, or also known as Twitter. Let's see here. Kataraza says, quote, you got $10.2 billion bonanza from the CARES Act. Free money always takes care of debt. Smoke and mirrors, unquote, getting 65 likes. Again, geez Louise, I thought it was going to be at least 50-50 in support of him, but that's not looking good. Let's see here. Oh, here's a positive one. Though in full transparency, this person does have an alligator in their profile name. I didn't even know you could put those emojis in there until recently. This person's name is Dustin Grage, and he says, quote, or should I clarify, Dustin Grage, the alligator, or crocodile, I can't quite tell, but nevertheless, crocodile emoji. Dustin Gage, crocodile emoji, says, quote, tagging at AFPHQ and hashtag Chris Sunanu to remind them what fiscal conservatism looks like. Be sure to like and retweet so they see this, unquote. That got 68 likes and only about 11 retweets, but still pretty good. Profile by the name of Red Wave Press, who gets A+ for marketing. Their profile picture is literally of a red wave, though I don't think water can type. So they'll just say this: alleged red wave types. Ron DeSantis will pay off federal debt just like he has done in Florida. He won't continue to let Congress blow out the federal spending. Follow if you like and agree, unquote. I got 41 likes. Swamp Fox says, quote, conservative governance is the way, unquote, getting 15 likes. Nate says, quote, this is just insane to me. I can't believe this has been done, unquote. Hashtag Ron DeSantis is the GOAT, unquote, getting 86 likes. Casper says, quote, Ronnie going to have to drop out after Iowa, LOL, getting 16 likes. Let's see. Mike says, quote, you would have made a great president. It's a shame you couldn't wait 4 years. By the way, you're supporters acting like far leftists is what ruined your political career, unquote, getting 29 likes. And to be honest, bringing about one of the good points of the critique of the DeSantis campaign is that they don't make friends online. Quite the antithesis, they make a lot of enemies online. Even people who are very much politically in the middle. Famously, Tim Pool is one of the most influential podcasters out there. I mean, he's pretty middle of the road on a lot of issues and topics. I mean, he gave some moderate critique. Again, he wasn't being pejorative or insulting the campaign, the DeSantis campaign. He just gave some critique about the campaign, and they roasted him immediately. And they go after everyone venomously. Which, again, a wise man once said, you catch more flies with sugar than salt. Or flies, sugar. Nevertheless, you probably get the metaphor. Probably, maybe, perhaps. Nevertheless, I'll do one or two more of these comments. Chris Nelson says, quote, thank you, Governor, unquote, getting 37 likes. Let's see. Impartial Observer says, quote, cool, people need to afford insurance in Florida. Grammar be damned. He continues to say, quote, Florida insurance premiums have soared 206% since DeSantis became governor, unquote, getting 32 likes. Oh, this is funny. Well, this person does get an A+. Their name is Idaho Boat Guy, and there's a picture of a guy in a boat. So, good marketing. And this alleged boat guy, let's see. He says, quote, if I was a Trump advisor, I'd tell him 1, step out of the primary, 2, publicly endorse DeSantis, 3, quit typing in all caps, 4, apologize for not being loyal to DeSantis, 5, commit to paying off your own legal bills, unquote. I find that comical for many reasons. Partially because Trump is ahead of everyone by, 30 to 40 points in most of these polls? I mean, the only question is, will he be legally barred from running? I mean, And again, spoiler alert, later in the show we'll talk about Vivek and talk about the Michigan allowing him to run. But I mean, there are a lot of mechanisms working against Trump, legally speaking, and the government not wanting him to run. The question is, I mean, if they do allow him to run, I mean, all the data we have, all the poll aggregators, we'll pull it up right now in terms of the latest 535 project. Again, if you want to check out this website, it's the poll aggregator. It is called projects.538.com. I keep fumbling the last part of it. But again, it's the poll aggregator where they take a bunch of the recent polls. And again, none of this data is perfect. And we know polls have been wrong in the past. I'm just working with the data we have right now. So the latest data coming in, again, so this is a poll aggregator. The latest couple polls came from December 19th to December 21st as Rasputin. That was 792 a sample size. December 13th to 19th at 454 sample size. Again, December 13th, 19th, December 13th, 19th. There are a couple of them, all 454. December 16th to 18th, 554. So those are the newest data points or polls that they added to this poll aggregator. So again, it's not in real time. It's not. Excuse me. It's an imperfect system. And again, going to the poll aggregator. Again, it's kind of like the stock market, could change in 2 minutes to get the new poll to add to it. But right now, Trump is at 61.2%, which is astonishingly high. He started under 50%. Trump started at 45.9%. And DeSantis started at, what was this? So DeSantis started at 34.6% last January. So 34.6%. And I mean, as of right now, DeSantis is at 11.7%, which is almost impossibly bad marketing. Because again, as I said earlier in the segment, he does have some good accomplishments as governor of Florida. People moved to Florida in part because of his leadership and in part because of the bills that he passed. So again, he's down to 11.7%. Nikki Haley, she's increasing exponentially throughout the whole campaign. She's now up to 11%. And so she's getting pretty close. And again, she's getting a lot of funding. That's the big elephant in the room. That is going to be a hard thing to overcome because, again, funding does matter in these instances. And we have Vivek, he's down to 3.5%. Chris Christie is actually increased. He's actually up at 3.4%. And H. Hudson, about break even, still at 0.6%. So again, I just think it's funny, this advisors telling Trump to drop out. I mean, there's no this. Again, I'm not a doctor. However, if you click the subscribe button, it may help with my speaking ineptitudes, my lack of enunciation, speaking too fast. I am actively working on it. Thanks for the comments that let me know it's an issue. But just saying, if you watch the first couple episodes, you'll see, oh dear God, there actually was a modicum of improvement. Maybe not a lot, but a little bit. And if you click the subscribe button, it may very well assist. And again, going back to this comment by Idaho Boat Guy, I mean, statistically speaking, Trump is so far ahead, there's not really much of an incentive for him to drop out. Apologize for not being loyal to DeSantis. That's where I laughed a little bit because one of the biggest points of contention between the friction between Trump and DeSantis is that many people attribute some of DeSantis' success getting elected to Trump endorsing him. Now, that being said, not all of Trump's endorsements have gotten elected. Some of them have backfired. I think the most famous one that backfired was Dr. Oz, who is mostly known for having an interesting first name, Mehmet, which is hilarious. I mean, it's almost as ridiculous having a name like Topping. Oh, wait. But nevertheless, again, apologize for being not loyal to DeSantis. DeSantis was the one that many people were accusing him of not being loyal to Trump because Trump gave him an endorsement. Now DeSantis is going, and some people feel like he's taking an opportunity away from Trump or taking votes away from him. Given DeSantis' recent stances and starting to be more offensive against Trump and critiquing Trump, I don't think he's taking as much votes away as Trump thinks because, again, the people who don't like Trump are now shifting their votes. And again, these are primary votes. They're moving more towards Chris Christie. Chris Christie is very much consistent on point. He hates Trump. He will never, his whole thing is attacking Trump. And again, there are many people in the Republican Party who will vote for them. I don't think that's enough to actually get them the nominee. I don't think the volume is there, but that is a track to take. Now, we'll do one or two more comments here. Maria Lopez says, quote, very impressive. We need this on the federal level. Make America Florida, unquote. Hashtag DeSantis for President 2024. That got 32 rather likes. It would be more hilarious if it got 24. It'd be too perfect. Let's see here. couple more negative ones. Gracie Smith says, quote, more lies from Ron DeSantis like Joe Biden. The outrageous meatball. There's no reason for Florida to have both the highest homeowner and auto insurance in the entire country, while you also managed to create the highest inflation rate too. And there's a caricature of Ron DeSantis laughing, and the text around him, there's 5 different text boxes. The first box says, Florida now has the highest inflation rate, while Ron DeSantis is fighting the culture war. Millions of Floridians are losing their health care. Florida is the least affordable place to live in the U.S. Florida is taking sick kids off Medicaid months before planned. Florida insurance premiums have soared 206% since DeSantis became governor. That caricature and the text that she posted, that got 38 likes on X. And again, Homer, I'm actually surprised insurance has been so cheap for so long for some of these places where, statistically speaking, they're hit by hurricanes again and again and again. The odds are not good. So it'll be interesting. I'm not sure how he's going to address that issue, since in terms of supply and demand, more insurance companies are leaving the state, both for political reasons and I also think for self-serving profitable or issues or lack thereof making a profit issues as well. It'll be interesting to see how does he entice new companies to start doing business in Florida. Maybe there'll be a new startup tomorrow or a couple of businesses that try to move into the area and compete. Well, I'm not sure that how that issue will be addressed at the end of the day. In terms of the most expensive place to live, I mean, I would suspect that'd be California because it's highly congested and they're highly taxed. So I'm not sure about that. We'll do one more. Tracy Ann says, quote, use money from the CARES Act from Trump 2024. They got 37 likes. Let's see here. Leah Memes has a meme of DeSantis sitting in a child booster seat, and the text is finally getting the boost he's looking for. They got 29 likes. Let's see here. Let's see. And I'd say several dozen posts with people saying effects of, good for Florida, we want DeSantis. Some saying, no, thank you, Trump 2024. I'd say about 50-50 split between those comments. Those are getting between 0 and 10 likes a piece. So I'd say, although there's a couple negative, I'd say overall, I don't know. I'd still venture to say the sample size is still about 50-50. And again, he has some good points on his track record, on his resume. I think he should be doing more of this. And again, you could debate how worthwhile it is your time to argue with people online and try to convince people to win hearts and minds online. I mean, depending on what you do for a living, it may or may not be worth it. For political staff, they're paying people to make them look at it online. I would think it'd be worth their time to actually address some of these points that people have been bringing up in the comments and say, clarify some points, let them know, or maybe say, hey, we could be doing better in some ways. Or maybe you have a good point there, Johnny, who subsequently was insulting DeSantis. I don't know. I've had some good conversations on social media platforms. I think the most contentious topic I covered, or one of the most controversial topics I covered, was the UAW contract between Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. That was a very contentious, but we had some good comments going back and forth, and I think we changed a couple of people's minds. We got to know each other and had some pretty unique insights. And that's just thanks to going back and forth on social media. Now, interestingly enough, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever seen DeSantis or his staff respond to many of these top comments on social media. And again, it's hard to say, but I think there would be a little bit of an upside to that. Again, you're not going to win over everyone by doing that, but given you do have campaign staff, reportedly he has campaign staff, he has someone in the marketing department. They may be inebriated by a huge volume of Bud Light. Perhaps that would explain everything, really. But one would think they have the resources to do that. I think that would help out a little more. But let me know, is this a good point for him to drive home? Or do you think he just needs to change the track record? I mean, one thing is for sure, he has to do something different. Because he keeps going down more and more and more. Again, from 30+% down to 11.1%. It's not looking good for Ron DeSantis. So at the end of the day, he needs to do something different. It'll be interesting to see what he chooses to go forward with in terms of the campaign strategy. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January, so if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me some feedback. Let me know I could be doing better and better. Also, giving a thumbs up is a great way to help with the YouTube and Rumble algorithm, so the video gets shared more often, helps the channel grow and develop. Also, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone Just stay safe, fight the good fight.